Hello, Patriots. We are joined today by the one and only Damage.
Hell yeah. Sorry. Oh, sorry about that.
Hell yeah. We got Jeff in the chair today.
Hello.
It's a very special occasion. Very happy to have you here, Damage.
Happy to be here.
I'm leading this podcast today, and I'm
God help us.
super ready.
I feel so safe in the chair.
Yeah,
How
bro.
am I coming in?
You sound
level-wise?
great. Everybody sounds great.
Hell yeah.
That mic mouth distance is perfect.
Hell yeah. Jeff is sitting his cis
And I'll
head
let you know
down.
if I need anything.
His cis het ass down and giving us the space that we deserve.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they want to be podcasters so bad. Let's put them to work. 'Cause I think that should kind of be part of the reparations is that we put all the cis guys on back end podcasting jobs, and then they pay for our equipment.
Yeah. And that's kind of been the sitch.
And I'm talking like the name brand. I want the dynamic SM7B. I want the Shure brand fucking Gator Arm. I want.
Yeah, I don't even know what that stuff is. Kat's been doing like all the actual work for the show.
Yeah, we've been,
Editing everything, editing all the clips.
We've been like, people think this is your podcast.
I know.
Like-
I barely do anything.
No, yeah, this has been like mainly my baby.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Let's make
Well,
that.
again,
clear.
it's that harmful stigma towards cis men with the podcast. You know,
Right.
like we're gonna assume that this is you charging that up because, like, why would we want to share our opinions? We're white trans women. That's the last thing
yeah.
that we do.
My-
is-
My own friends will be like, I saw you on this dude's podcast, and I'm like, that's mine. Like, that's my shit. This flag, this was my idea. I put all this together.
That's fucking crazy.
Salute to the flag.
It's kind of like when people comment like, "Holy shit, this is my third video of yours that hit the FYP, and I just realized that's your music, like you're rapping." I'm like, well, it makes sense because like hot girls are out here like lip syncing shit all the time.
Right.
But it does make sense that like, especially like the more, you know, as the transition progresses, there's just gonna like that gap's gonna keep widening. It's just really fucking interesting that people will hit. They're like, they don't even register it as like original music sometimes.
Damn. That's crazy.
Which I kind of bank, like that is kind of like a mega part of like what I do is kind of banking on that contrast because it's eye catching and then, you know, I grip you with the substance.
Yeah. God, your visuals are so cool. I love
Thank you.
I love your TikToks.
I
like,
appreciate it.
Like the way you promote your music is so well done. I think like
Thank you.
I love the visual with everyone with the what's on their heads. What
are you talking
on
about?
your newest song?
Oh, The Handmaid's Tale.
Or
So
your newer song.
the word is bonnet, but what I did is I just like on Amazon I bought like Handmaid's Tale costumes. I bought like 8 of them, and then we kept them very clean. We wore them for the scene, and then I packed them back up and dropped them off at Whole Foods. But and that was like because those things were like $50 each.
Oh damn.
It was the only like there was no like cheap version I could get in 24 hours because like anyway, I was buying shit like down to the wire. Because I basically needed to like I was in like a mega financial crunch, partly because of what I committed for that video. So I was like every other day I was either like this is going towards bills, this is going towards the video. It was like
That seemed worth it though. That was a sick visual. Like
But-
all your visuals are so sick.
dude, when I had the idea, I was like, it hit me. I'm like, this is gonna be crazy. I really hope it actually looks the way it looks in my head, and it looked exactly like it. The one thing I did want to truly like pay homage to the Kendrick scene is like enough people because in the real video, I say the real video. I mean, yeah, like the video I took the inspiration from. He has like fucking 20-30 people in that, and you really
Right.
get zoomed out there. Also, the lighting was fucking insane. I mean, it's a goddamn Dave Meyers video. It's like it's so fucking well done.
I hate to interrupt two queens here, but Kat, something normally
fucking
that
men, dude.
Kat, something normally that a host will do is kind of like talk about the guest and like what their background is and let them sort of introduce themselves like as like a musician or
You know, that's actually a great
It's
point.
a great idea. Thank you.
And I think, and to to, I guess, your benefit, like I did kind of jump into the music part, so
Take control, Kat. Take control.
Damage, would you like to introduce yourself
yeah.
and what
what's
you're
up?
all about?
My name is Damage, DAMAG3. You can find me at It's Damage everywhere. I'm a rapper, producer. A lot of people don't know this, but I do play instruments. I'm a musician that is working on figuring out who the fuck I am and how I can be part of, I don't know why I'm blanking on this. I normally have like a really easy thing to say, but I'm trying to build a community of people who want to do better for themselves so that they could eventually stop worrying about themselves and help others. And we're just in the process of doing that. So that sounds like you. Come along.
Fantastic. I did want to ask, going back to videos, are you the main or like the complete creative drive behind your visuals and all
Yeah.
your music videos?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, there's definitely like, especially as time has gone on, I've had lots of people pitch in, and like Graham and I for the God Image video. Shout out Graham Buhan. I probably just butchered his last name. I never say his last name. Anyway.
Names are hard.
Yeah, shout out dam.graham on Instagram. He is a really fantastic visual person. And just an amazing person to just brainstorm shit with. So it initially started with the concept of Vivian Wilson did the Teen Vogue shoot. I shot her a DM because it had been a while since we chatted, and I was like, hey, good to see you behind a real camera, because like a lot of her shit was on a webcam, and it was kind of just like a little haha moment. And then it was just like hey, like, hope you're doing well. And then I kind of had like this little idea. I was like, she said she wanted to be in more shoots. I'm like, you wanna do a music video? And she's like, yo, that would be cool.
So
And I'm
was
like,
it? Sorry.
No, so because that, I had to think. I'm like, okay, well, what would we do? Like, what is the best and most appropriate way for me to use her in a video? And I just thought about it, and it took maybe like a full minute max before it just hit me. I'm just like, the president. How about we make her the president?
Yeah, I did want to ask you, was it your idea to put her behind the fucking president's desk?
There were a lot of, just as a general rule, all of the main ideas were 100% me, and then a lot of the execution came a lot from Graham in terms of like how we were actually able to make that shit happen. You know, again, shout out Graham. But yeah, it started with Vivian as the president, and then I thought about, okay, what else could we do? Then I thought about the handmade scene. And then I remember like going about my day, and then randomly I had this idea. I don't know if I saw a political cartoon or some shit. Like, for whatever reason, I just pictured big baby Trump. I was originally wanting to get like a sumo wrestler, either like an actor who could play that type of role, or somebody who actually is like a real sumo wrestler. And I wanted like that with the orange face paint and the wig, and I wanted like those ground shaking, like even like a Jurassic Park fucking reference, like just the boom, boom, and then like very much almost kind of playing on the David and Goliath thing. There's a lot of intentional, you can call it Christian appropriation or whatever the fuck you want to call it, or I guess subversive use of biblical imagery that I kind of use to mock the hypocrisy of evangelicals and the way that certain people contort the teachings of Christ.
Were you raised Christian?
Very much so. Catholic. Yeah.
Me too. Not Catholic, but
Yeah.
heavily Christian.
And look,
I love that.
More power to you. Whatever you believe, I get it. But I think kind of, I think we would all generally agree it's not good to shove that shit onto other people and,
Yeah.
use military force to enforce it globally.
Yeah.
But and then do it for like 1,000 years and gaslight everybody into thinking it's
Yeah.
the way it
If
inherently
I don't
is.
do it, all of my friends are gonna go to hell.
Yeah, well,
acting like the separation
My-
of church and state really happened
Mhm.
when it definitely didn't. What's it like? 90% of Republicans in office are Christian, I think.
I think it's 100.
Alleged.
Is it 100%?
Allegedly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wild.
I mean, at least they're claiming it.
Right.
Is there a single Republican in federal office who doesn't claim?
I don't believe so.
Well, it's Ramaswamy's. What is he? A governor? I think he's Hindu, but I don't know if he's in the federal government.
Well, here's the thing. I think there is. So, I think there's culture and heritage, and then there's lived experience and practice. And so, for example, I'm somebody who comes from a white Southern Christian family. That is my heritage, and there's no way that will ever not be my heritage, and kind of like the base of my culture and like where I pivot from and how I experience life through. While ultimately I have found through like studying religion both in college and just independently, I've found a lot of connection with Buddhist teachings. And so it's a weird thing, but I still rarely ever say the phrase "I am Buddhist." One, because like there's kind of an inside joke that the only difference between a Buddhist and a non-Buddhist is a non-Buddhist thinks there's a difference.
That's a good one.
It's a very common phrase in Buddhist communities, and it's just a little comment on the illusion of separation and the illusion of self. But I say I am a practitioner of Buddhism in, I'm not perfect. I'm far from it, but
Respect.
I
Our
say
grandpa was
that, I guess,
Buddhist.
kind of as the distinction between, like, culturally, I'm not Buddhist. I wasn't raised in Southeast Asia. I wasn't, like, that is not familially, I can't even talk. That is not the religious culture is not, like, ingrained in my nervous system. And so, I mean, you even see, like, this kind of weird, like, Eastern fusion spirituality that a lot of like white people who are disillusioned with the colonial world find themselves, and they find themselves like needing iconography and symbolism to actually make sense of these things because it's so abstract from the way Western religion operates. And I say all of this rambling to think you could be culturally Hindu. I mean, fucking Bobby Jindal was
Dude, I haven't thought about Bobby Jindal in a minute.
Republican governor of Louisiana.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly what part of India he's from, but that was like a mega thing that people talked about when he was running and while he was governor, but he was very much a Republican, and he very much was Louisiana. Like, he was not some flaming liberal. Like, And so that's, I mean, I definitely think there can be situations where you have like non-white men participating in the overall machine in the best interest of white men. That is the Republican Party, but I don't know. Take control. Change the topic.
I think that was fantastic. But just another shout out to God Image. Like,
shout out God Image. Yeah, I
Love
guess
that
to kind
song.
of put
we
a bow on.
Yeah, we both love that.
We
song.
To
love
put
that
a bow
song.
on that, yeah, I'm really proud of that. It hasn't. I don't even think it's remotely had its moment yet. There's a lot of stuff that I think that is just kind of sitting there waiting to have, I think, multiple waves of blowing up. You know, there's going to be many times in the future where people are going to find me all over again and all that sort of shit. So
yeah, I think your shit is fire. You've got bars.
Thank you.
Like, in that song you say, I've been on estrogen for 2 years. I know a bitch when I see one. Like, it's just like so, like it's direct, but it's like it's good.
I will
just
shout
like,
out.
It's a solid bar.
I will shout out Mick Jenkins for that. Mick Jenkins is one of my favorite rappers. He put a song out. I think it's called War and Peace, but it was in the midst of the whole Joey Badass post Kendrick thing. And he said something like, "These days I know a broken sauce when I see one," in the sense of him talking about just kind of like, I won't fully dive into an interpretation of that song, but it was very much him just kind of chiming in and being like, "Hey, most of y'all ain't the goats you think you are." And he is someone who can 100% say that type of shit.
Damn.
But he said that line, "These days I know a broken sauce when I see one," and when I was playing with that beat weeks later, there was just something about that attitude, like asserting Like I know the fucking environment well enough to like know what's up, and taking that sentiment and kind of turning it into like, look, I've been on Ashton for 2 years. I know a bitch when I see one.
Yeah, the delivery of that line was remarkable. Yeah.
I would probably say the biggest focus that I have that I think has transformed my music over the past couple of years has been my not a de-emphasis on lyricism, but more confidence that that's never going to be a problem. Like that is not in a way that I never need to challenge myself, but that I will never not have bars. It's more like, okay, what the fuck else? Like, where is the actual show of delivering these lyrics? And I think that is the mega difference between...
You've got the bars, you just want the artistry
I have
behind it.
heard so many songs where I'm like, yeah, they're rapping, and then months go by and I never think about that song. And again, like, the good raps and the flow and being able to, like, you know, do all your thing is not the distinct element of why we remember shit.
Right.
And
And
so,
I mean, it shows. Your shit pops. Your most recent feature, I was listening to with my friends, Start a
Yeah.
Fire with the Neighborhood Kids.
I've been waiting for y'all to
You
hear that
say-
for so long.
You say, solve the trolley problem, hit the POTUS with a locomotive. Me and my friends were losing it over that. So fire.
I need like nerds to read my lyrics because like I need it. I put some crazy shit in there, and thank you so much. I was wondering who was gonna fuck with the trolley problem bar.
Oh,
it's so good.
It's so bomb. I rewound that like 4 times while like and the delivery. Oh, so good. So you talk about Zionism associating with Luigi Mangione, violence towards landlords and political figures. You mentioned in your music that you're ready to die for your causes, or that perhaps you'll be put into a camp for being outspoken like that. When you're that direct, do you feel like you have a lot of contemporaries, or do you feel kind of lonely in this lane?
Incredibly lonely. I
Yeah.
don't think, and to clarify, I feel lonely in sentiment. I'm sorry, I don't feel lonely in sentiment. I feel lonely in execution. There are so many people, and I think to the degree that that is kind of like, it plays to my favor because there are so many people and my opinions in this environment are so ununique and so like just boilerplate, of course you believe this. I think my execution is currently uncomparable specifically for what I do. I will give special shout outs to like my friend Changelin, artists like Backwash, artists like Fentanyl and Jane Remover, and there's hella people making great music, and there's hella trans people making great music. I think I definitely have my own lane, and there's some copycats out there, and there are some people who've been doing it before me who just, you know, it's just, it don't got the pizzazz. And I think a lot of people are fucking brilliant, and a lot of trans people specifically are brilliant. It's a unique life experience to have that kind of requires some extra degree of like mental processing to arrive at some of the conclusions we arrive at, which is why we're typically known historically to be more reflective and more emotionally intelligent and more centered and grounded. So a lot of those, I wouldn't say I'm more those things than anybody else. I would say on the probably at best I'm like average, because I'm like I'm like going on 5 years into a social transition, about 3-ish years on estrogen. I say about like 2.5 because the first 6 months I was on pills and it was like nothing, and then I switched to injections. But I guess that's a long-winded way of saying like I think I don't know anybody who is like rapping that is like got me worried. And
You don't feel like anyone else is being this direct when it comes towards, or
yeah,
comes to
it's look,
that type of message?
I do my thing, and it would be tough to do what I do without like it being compared at this point. But again, there are different types of music, and I want to emphasize that I have so much love for the other trans artists out there, and there's a lot of people coming up figuring their shit out, that got a lot of fucking potential, and if you're one of those people, do not fucking stop. And don't ever listen to a goddamn thing I say. But I do want to just be fair to the trans community out there because it's so much fucking talent. Yeah.
Yeah, you've introduced me to a lot of very talented artists,
Oh,
like
dude.
on
It's
our little stream we did.
Tip of the fucking iceberg, bro.
I can't believe I didn't know about Change. Like Change is so fire. Like everyone else there was.
That voice, dude. Their voice is so crazy.
Yeah,
And their production, they do all the production.
Incredible.
Yeah. And there's dude. New York has so many fucking cool people. LA has so many cool people. There's, oh my god. Queer people make some of the best music.
So back to God Image, you say, I finally stopped smoking pot and all I see now is kettles.
Yeah.
Is this literal? Do you feel like the world looks different when you're not smoking?
100%. I was sober for about a year, and I've reintroduced kind of some light moderation after I got a lot of clarity, thankfully, from taking that break. I really, really, really needed that break. I think to finally understand the difference between like what is me and what is the weed. And I think I related heavily to a lot of these emotionally avoidant tendencies that a lot of people who go through recovery programs deal with psychologically when they develop physiological dependency. You cannot get physiologically dependent on weed. Addiction, you cannot do that. What I found myself noticing is a pattern of horribly chaotic things happening in my life, in terms of like living situations or, you know, car crashes, you know, these things happening that totally derailed me. And my go-to was to smoke more, as opposed to, hey, maybe I should smoke a little less, feel more, and then, you know, that type of thing.
Very relatable.
And I was finding a lot of difficulty as I was going through the early stages of working with my former therapist. And she eventually kind of helped lead me to a conclusion that right now it's not helping. And so for the foreseeable future, I'm just like, you know what? I want to really unpack this shit. I want to figure out what's going on, and I want to understand emotionally where I'm at, really, without any type of numbing agent. And I want to let the good, bad, and ugly come up. And when the dust settles, I want to see like where I'm at. And I'll let the dust settle after. So, I mean, I felt like the first 3 to 6 months, I was like feeling and learning new shit almost every fucking day. And I was able to let go of so much shit, that eventually when I did decide that the grip of like having to maintain the streak was becoming more pressure than the clarity of not having it in my brain.
I feel
and
that.
It started to outweigh that, and I started realizing that the real long battle is between myself and my self-judgment. And so I found my judgment found a way to weaponize my sobriety. So
Interesting.
that's kind of what ended up happening when I realized at a certain point, once you get through the processing, you don't get any more benefit out of reprocessing that trauma all the time and being so reflective you never actually implement it into action. And this could lead into a whole story arc of like where my discography is headed post you know, violent leftist crash out. I have like other kind of avenues I want Damage to go down.
So you don't see yourself being so directly political?
There's nothing wrong. There's a difference between being directly political and violence without nuance. And that is kind of the growth that I want to I'm looking to, through my discography, document the radicalization, the initial radicalization of people when they decide to like step into action. The eventual valley you fall into of confusion after like a boost of incredible confidence that could be even hubris, and then climbing your way out of that valley to finding a way to humbly be part of a whole and let go of the need to be seen as a hero and seen as these sorts of things. And I recognize that I fall prey to a lot of these same ideals, not necessarily as like not in the sense that like I walk around actually thinking that I'm gonna be the one to like do it, but in the sense that we tend to over romanticize our contributions to a much larger movement. And like me, for example, going to a protest with a case of water and like a little sling on ice chest and just passing out water is a very important and non-glamorous thing to just like go out and do. And learning to fall in love with that process, I think would allow for a lot more cooperation. And that's ultimately what I want to use my discography to kind of, as I become this person, help pave a way, and entertainingly, like a way that's like entertaining to watch and witness, help people figure out for themselves how they can get over their bullshit, love themselves, and then get the fuck to work. Because at a certain point, like, it's just emotional masturbation at this, like, at a certain point it becomes circular and non-productive, which is actually kind of harmful when we need all hands on deck.
Damn.
And so that's something that everybody's currently having difficulty with and is having whatever degree of difficulty they're having.
So you want this sort of like, I guess, martyrism, like just like fighting for what you believe in to be a huge part of your brand, but you don't want it to be the entirety of your brand.
Well, I actually want to avoid the comparison or the concept of martyrism and recognizing how much ego is rooted in that.
Right.
And where that tendency, like, it still all comes down to, because I talked about this in my song Time of the Month, this idea that we even a lot of people tend to view the revolution as something, as like a single event that can happen, a transaction. Wake up one day, there's no more Trump, there's communism, and your medicine's in the mail. Like, that's not how it fucking works. It's
right.
In the best case scenario, would never be remotely close to how it would actually work. Finding trying to find the best way to describe this.
It's not an overnight process.
It's not an overnight process, and we can't commodify something that is so process driven, and it is more of a identity shift and spiritual practice of letting go of a lot of these stories. And a big part of the story is everybody on their own hero's journey being themselves against the world, as opposed to I am with the world, I am of the world. And it's a really kind of like what I was saying with people, Western people trying to metabolize Eastern traditions and teachings while still relying on iconography, symbolism, and these very individualistic lenses to actually grasp these concepts. And the problem is you can't fully metabolize it into action when you're not letting go of the root infrastructure with which we approach all this shit. And it's so fucking abstract, and there's not a lot of in what's shoved in front of my face. I don't see a ton of like practical ways to like dive into these concepts outside of, I will shout out Justin Scott. Justin Scott is the motherfucking truth and is one of the most incredible people on any of these platforms. Definitely check out Justin Scott. But yeah, that's change the topic. Ask a question.
Love that message.
I lost where I was going.
You're all right. That was fantastic. Type shit.
Type shit.
Were you trying to say something earlier?
No.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I think also, but maybe Damage, if you could just be a little closer to the mic.
Sure,
when
yeah.
you speak.
Absolutely.
And then careful, but both of you fiddling with the bottom of it. Picks up.
Okay.
Bet. Thanks, producer.
Thank you.
So I wanted to ask, I guess, like more kind of simple questions. Just like, what is your creative process like?
Yeah, shit. I'm very much a beat first girl.
Yeah.
I need
your
a
beats are. Oof.
A lot of times I will have ideas. So like the song, I think I showed you Hunter Schafer, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so Hunter Schafer,
Cool.
I had the hook idea, which is very simple, and I could have put it on, it could apply to all sorts of different types of beats.
That's not out yet, right?
No. Blind is coming out on August 1st.
I got the
August
exclusive look,
1st.
I feel pretty.
August 1st, exclusively on Even.
On
for
Even.
the duration of the tour. Even is a pay what you want, direct artist fan relationship little platform, and this is a very artsy and conceptual project. It is very introspective and vulnerable, despite how loud and violent it could come off on the surface. And I'm gonna be on tour, and I'm not like swinging for the radio with this one. I very much want this to be buy-in for the fans.
Tour starting this month on the 31st here in LA.
Yep, Moroccan Lounge.
You want us to link that?
Yeah,
We'll
let's
link
totally
that.
do it. I actually have like a sub link tree thing that just has all my tour dates.
We'll
so.
plug that in the description.
Yeah.
But yeah, so for the 6 weeks that I'm on tour, I want this album to be between me and my fans. The people who are passionate enough to go out of their way and don't need the effortless convenience of like Spotify and all that stuff. I want to reward those people for sticking by me and thank them with exclusive access to what is definitely my best work so far.
That's awesome.
And then on September 12th, Friday, it's going to be available on all streaming platforms, so you could just wait a little bit.
Love that.
But yeah, you can come hear the studio version and come hear the live version, and they're very different versions. I'll be doing the entire set list on my tour and all the hits.
Do you enjoy creating or performing more?
I guess this will help me finish your initial question.
Oh, my bad.
You're gonna have to keep reining me in. I'm a wild.
I got you. I mean, I love the yapping.
So
you're helping me out a lot here.
What's the fucking Mitch Hedberg? He's like, I have 25 minutes left. You know Mitch Hedberg?
Yeah.
Oh,
we got all the time in the world. Y'all are naming names. I'm glad you know these names because
Mitch
Hedberg
like
is
he's like one of the
GOAT.
best. I just saw a video about Mitch Hedberg yesterday. He's saying it was one of the funniest things. Like a friend of his was talking about how he just didn't use banks at all, and then he just carried around huge amounts of cash on him all the time.
Yeah.
It's so fucking.
And then he's like, he goes to a hotel and he's like, they're like, well, we need a card for the deposit, and he pulls out a big wad of cash. He's like, this is cover it times 10. I don't need. Can I please just leave this and I'll get it back when I leave? And they're like, no, we need a card. He's like, no, you don't understand. This is what the card represents. It's like if you ordered a Frank Sinatra impersonator and then Frank Sinatra came and you're like, no, this isn't gonna work.
No, Mitch. So I'd probably say George Carlin is probably, without a doubt, number one. I'm gonna catch some heat for this, but I don't know if Dave could be knocked down off my list just structurally as a comedian. Views, we got some shit to talk about.
Well, we're cooked. We're done.
But
I'm just playing.
saying.
Yeah, he's funny, man.
We'll never diss Dave as a comedian. I will talk whatever shit I want about the turf shit and all that shit, but I'm gonna give props due where it's due.
What did he say the other day that he said DJ Khaled's the only fat Palestinian?
Brother.
Jesus Christ.
I'm not gonna lie, when he said impossible pussy, I lost my fucking shit.
Impossible pussy.
Is that like an Impossible Burger?
He referred to women.
Like women with bottom surgery is impossible pussy? Holy shit. Wait, I'm going to start calling mine that. What the fuck? That's incredible. That's so good. Oh my god, I can't believe a non-trans person came up with that.
There are tasteful trans jokes. I personally believe he's actually woker than he leads on, and I think he's grifting. I think he's grifting Republicans and he's trolling white liberals at the same time.
I can get behind
my
it.
conspiracy behind Dave, especially if you watch his earlier shit, while he's definitely a man who has his own battle with misogyny and all of those sorts of things, but that's just, that comes with the fucking territory. That man is fucking tapped in to what is going on and the forces of white supremacy and how they fucking affect everything. He is and has always been since he was like 15, 16 doing stand-up talking about that shit. Me reading between the lines of what he's talking about and what he's kind of said directly is that his problem isn't with trans people, it's how we talk about trans people. And his gripe is ultimately that white liberals are seemingly breaking their necks to fly to the support of what is mostly viewed as, and this gets into the erasure of black trans women in the overall LGBT space, and how it's represented in the media and who gets the brand deals and who gets all the visibility and who gets to represent who we are. Why is it Caitlyn and not, so-and-so, T.S. Madison, Cat Black, whoever. There are plenty of people who are much more equipped to represent, especially more than me. I think what I've very clearly picked up is that decades ago and to this day, white liberals have directly stood, whether it's neutrality or active opposition, to black liberation. And he has basically said it reeks of white privilege that LGBT seems to get a fast pass because it's typically white men leading that. And so he implicated both gay men and calling trans women men. And him basically saying, where was that fucking energy when we were getting hosed by dogs? Where was that energy when blah, 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 blah? Were he to take it to what I think he actually understands is that all of this is rooted in the same problem of white supremacy controlling the narratives of what's going on in this country and how people are perceived. And that all of this systemic racism was perpetuated not by lived experiences of people just being people, but media demonizing groups of people that set the tone for how when people leave their house, how they're going to interact with those people. Then you have tainted lived experiences and decades upon decades of all these interactions. And so it seems that he is, as a rich, successful entertainer, both grifting conservative people who have always been against his beliefs, grifting white liberals who have always, at best subvertively, unconsciously stood in the way of the things he believes in, while making a ton of money, because at that point he doesn't fucking care anymore.
He's trolling.
He's way smarter than he leads on. Why stop at the 5-yard line and say all of this transphobia is going to hurt black women more than anybody, cis and trans? If he were to just bring it right there, he now goes so far right, he turns crazy left. Say, actually, if we don't unpack this, black women are still going to get kidnapped and killed, and nobody's going to care, and they're going to die in the maternity ward, and all that sort of shit. So that's my big gripe with Dave, is that he could take that swing, and he says he can't be bought, but if he took that swing, he's not getting $150 million from Netflix, because you can't sell that.
Right.
You can sell unnuanced conservative takes and centrist comedy, because it gets people on the left yapping about why they don't like it.
Did he make $150 million?
He made $150 million off 4 specials. Yeah.
Damn.
Crazy. Fact check me on that, but I'm almost positive.
No, I think you're right.
I'm almost positive it was 150.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised.
So that is kind of where I'm at with Dave. It's a complex topic.
I get where you're coming from though. Like I haven't seen a whole lot of them, but like I can.
Oh, I grew up like.
I see that.
My whole life, Chappelle Show as a kid, like loved him. So that's where things are a little, and I think I am probably biased to look for the best in people that I've always admired as a kid. But I guess we were saying all of this to talk about Mitch Hedberg, who's he's also way up on that list of just somebody who is so. It reminds me of Carlin in the way that it's so simple and really effective, concise ways of pointing out the absolute absurdity of society when it comes to arbitrary enforcing of rules and customs to the point where it makes things unproductive or nonsensical.
Right.
And I love his ability to just point out like the Frank Sinatra thing. Like, that's fucking crazy.
The Frank Sinatra thing.
And that wasn't even a joke. The credit card thing.
Oh,
that wasn't even like a joke. That was like a story of
like
a
a
friend
thing
of
he
him.
did.
That's just something that he said. It's
No,
just like how his mind
But
worked.
all of his jokes are like that. He's
Yeah.
like, I think Pringles was initially a tennis ball company. And then they just got a shipment of potatoes and they said, fuck it. We're like, cut them up.
Yeah.
And then he said, escalators. He's like, I like escalators because they can never break. They can only become stairs.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
He would-
perfect.
He's influenced my mind.
He
so
would
much.
have... His style of comedy is what like Twitter turned into.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
150 character one-liners.
Mm-hmm.
He was such a pioneer of that space, and I'm sure there were people even before him that were doing that type of stuff. But he was crazy.
So back to
Rest
you.
in peace, Mitch Hedberg. But
Yeah, actually, like going back to your music, something that I
Yeah.
noticed when I was like listening to your earlier projects, like Present Moment in My Time,
Yeah.
is that the production was like a lot more minimal.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
as your career progressed, I felt like I was just hearing like more and more music, and the music was getting like more like dark and scary and but also like more full of life. Like I like the earlier stuff too, but it almost, I was actually thinking of like John Coltrane when he said like when he stopped using heroin, that, not saying that you were stopped using heroin, but it
I'll
reminded
never
me
stop.
but like as when he stopped, that
You
like
can't even get real heroin anymore.
that the music became just like more full, like all the empty spaces became full of more notes, more sound, more music.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that? So if you agree with my assessment that the music was becoming, I'll use the word maximalist, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, do you feel like that mirrored anything you were going through, like personally or creatively, over the last few years?
I would say the vibrancy of my life experience and my emotions. I would say the entry of estrogen into my nervous system, causing a ever changing and evolving ripple effect in how my brain responds to nervous system information that is less and less in fight or flight and more at peace and more like less itchy in my skin. And that is where I'm able to actually get a grasp over my mind, which is why a lot of people, when they're, getting medicated for anxiety related reasons, a lot of times finding a way to calm the nervous system through like a gabapentin or like a beta blocker or something is really helpful in getting like a grip over your mental processes, and then you can get some motion in that regard, and then you can be, not necessarily be so dependent on that because your nervous system is kind of more harmonious. So I say that in the sense of that is, I think, the more deep reason of what was happening and where and why the life is also there with the maximalism, because without that inner experience, I think I would just be adding. It wouldn't just be like drums, bass, and keys. I would just be throwing a bunch of shit in a DAW and making noise, that is my culture as a white trans man, as we make noise music. But I have always had, I guess, kind of this vision of what the music project would be. I always imagined it would be like as big and beautiful as the albums that have deeply moved me throughout my life. And whether it's like Pink Floyd or To Pimp a Butterfly, like all of the music I think that has deeply, deeply moved me has been huge in some way. Even if it's a quieter acoustic song that's very concise and powerfully written, that has always been like the standard I'm pushing for in making music. I am a little unique I guess generationally we are unique in that we have always had way more access to music distribution, which lowers the barriers to entry, which allows for a tendency for people to post their rough drafts to just, share the process. And I don't think that there was ever, in the era of record sales, ever a situation where people would want to engage with that.
Right.
And so what you're seeing from my very first project, The Present Moment, is me at 9 months of deciding I'm going to try to write a song for the first time in my life. And there's a whole story of like how I got into making music, but the short version is I decided in order to align with myself as authentically as possible, in the sense that like I understand myself as a creative, I need to create. I need to stop just, sitting around moping as a failed creative, because I technically didn't fail, I just never started. So in the process of starting it, I got a lot of encouragement from some of my really close friends, and it was like, it wasn't what I expected. I was expecting to just release emotions and make my shit, and people were like, yo, this is really fucking good. I was like, really? And they're like, yeah, you should post it. I'm like, what? No. What do you mean post it? Like, no, I'm not gonna like go out and like be a rapper. What are you talking about? Like, I just want to do this instead of like getting high or being like addicted to dating apps or whatever fucking loser behavior I was like engaged in for so long to cope with depression and to kind of cope with like that, kind of high functioning manic depression that I felt like I had for the entire duration of like, I would say, my masculine performance.
So how long were you making music, or how long have you dabbled in music before you started releasing?
Started playing like guitar and drums as a teenager. So I started guitar at 11. I started drums around like 15, 16. I didn't take drums seriously until I was like 19 or 20. I dabbled in a little Fruity Loops in college, but I otherwise had never written or composed or recorded I'd recorded like some guitar, but I had never like done it. And I was like, let me just fucking do it. And so that is, and you've probably picked up this narrative of like kind of the meta analysis of like, okay, what the fuck are we actually doing here? Like, what is the direction of our music? Why would anybody fucking listen to me? And I remember for so long never actually having the answer to that. I remember first having that question when I was like 14, 15, when I started getting a couple years into making music and being like, this is what I want to do. And then the doubt and the fear and society came in and was just like, well, what are you going, like, give me the concrete answer. Like, what does it look like? And I was like, I don't know yet. All I know is everything sucks. And I'm really like scared of fucking all this change, and I feel like everybody expects me to be something I'm not, and I don't even know how or why or how to describe it. Shout out the eggs. So when I got into making music and I was encouraged, I decided, okay, well, let me start putting stuff together. And I remember finally just deciding, I looked at that question I said of like, what are we going to talk about? I'm like, wouldn't it be fun to find out? And so like, why do I have to have everything? Like, I continue to let perfect be the enemy of good. And that is how I was able to kind of just go around that. And I'm just like, I need to just make it. And it's more important for me to make as much music as possible than for me to make the best music possible.
Real. Yeah, that's kind of been my philosophy on just getting things done in general.
For sure.
Lately. Perfection is definitely the enemy of progress.
And it sounds so cliche, but it is so radically transformative when you actually put it into practice.
It's one of the good cliches.
A lot of cliches are cliche for a fucking reason.
Yeah. Do you like ICP at all?
No.
Word.
At all.
Cool. Yeah, me neither.
Do you? Look, no hate. Hey, hold on. First up, before the juggalos come from my jugular, no, I need to write that down. That's a good one. I actually really like front-loading rhymes.
Go
Yeah, what's
off.
that?
So a lot of times we think of rhymes as like the ending vowel sound or the end of the word or the end of a lyric. Like the end of a line, like the last word always has to rhyme.
Yeah.
I am really fascinated by like alliteration. So not necessarily rhyming, but saying like 5 P words in a row without like it sounding like nonsense. Really coherent, natural sounding speech that is also really creative, flavorful.
I love assonance and alliteration. Big fan.
And a lot of front, so like saying before the jugulars come from my jugular, it's that jug.
Yeah.
And you could pronounce it in a way to make the whole thing rhyme, but like I feel like it's cooler because they both start with JUG. Yeah, I don't know. It's a fun little side note I love, and I guess kind of back to the creative process, because I definitely don't want to keep rambling about how I got into music, but yeah, basically I've just been failing fast and failing often and just putting shit out and being like, hey, this is where I'm at. This is what my music sounds like. If you don't like it, go fuck yourself.
Yeah, that's kind of like, I think maybe that's why we on a cosmic level, maybe we connected because we have a similar ethos with the podcast.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You have to make it exist first.
You gotta
get
shit out there.
What? They already don't fuck, like, nobody ever like outwardly. There are people who are gonna outwardly hate things, but they're lunatics.
Yeah.
We have some
They're
lunatic haters for sure.
They're fucking crazy, and you can't stop crazy people from being crazy. That's all just risk management shit. So when you're trying to make shit, already nobody cares. Your worst case scenario is your current reality.
Yeah, which is. Yeah.
So just accept you're in rock bottom and climb the fuck out. Make some garbage.
You don't such wise words.
You can just make it.
Yeah.
And then look at it and be like, this looks like shit. Why does it look like shit? Let me go to YouTube. Let me figure it out. Let me call someone who has done this before.
Yeah. You gotta Except be okay.
Me. Don't randomly DM me with production advice. I can't help you.
Yeah, if you do that to us, either I'll also kill you.
There's nothing I could tell you that you won't learn on YouTube.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I'm not like, I don't have some unique special skills.
Yeah. You learn through failing and making garbage.
Connor, one of our other producers, was at a gig yesterday. He plays pedal steel guitar, and he said a drunk guy holding a Moscow Mule in one hand and an IPA tall can in the other came up to him and was like, what you want to do is you want to blow up on TikTok, and then your song will blow up on TikTok. And then Connor's like, oh, yeah, word, cool.
Hey, can I speak from specific experience?
Please. Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, it's actually way easier to go viral than it is for that song to take off.
Yeah.
Because what makes something viral isn't necessarily what's going to build a strong enough connection with someone on the first try, and that's the key word, on the first try. Then I have found that I build way more fans consistently getting views between like 1 to 10,000.
Oh yeah.
When it finds the right audience, the right people, I'd rather grab 12 of the right people than get like 10,000 passive people,
and that's
who
just
are
digital
not
marketing.
as passionate.
Yeah.
That's just digital marketing fundamentals. I do a lot of work in digital marketing. It's like your website, if you make a website, it gets 1 million viewers who aren't interested in your product. It doesn't do anything for your company.
It doesn't matter. If anything, is worse because it's just spinning your wheels and your cost per click goes through the fucking roof.
Consistent view count, I think, is way more important than getting like a couple videos that pop off with like even like 1 million views can get you nowhere sometimes. It really depends on the audience you capture.
It's really freed up my creative process, kind of like learning, especially the first half of this year, finally starting to accept that like there is nothing more I can do from a brute effort to make myself more famous, which is something I only care about to the degree of it paying my bills. If I had 1 million streams a month, I'd be chilling. That's an insane amount of streams. It's also, it's kind of a drop in the bucket compared to more established artists, but I've always had my mind fixated on this, like, here's the large quantity that doesn't require any further diving in. It's more like me energetically saying I'm only worth passive Spotify streaming money, which means I need a bunch of people to kind of care about me. The reality is, if you can get 1,000 people to, over the course of 12 months, pay you $100 after taxes, you're making a very comfortable living, and nobody else would fucking know you. So somewhere between that middle ground, me recognizing that there are more creative and emotionally authentic to me ways to connect with these people. And that has really freed up my creative process from policing things that are too artsy or require, or things I deem too artsy or in needing of too much conscious emotional processing, and more in favor of what will smack you the fuck, like what absurd lyric could I say, like what. And while I think it's cool to be creative and flavorful with, I say that a lot, with my lyrics, I do think that sometimes I can focus more on like the impact that that person's gonna feel than like how does that serve the song. Like trying my best to keep the content creator damage out of the musician damage world when I'm in the studio. I feel like the content is a after the fact, like this is what I made, what do I do with it, as opposed to it started. And I talked about this like on my self-titled album in a song called Cloudy, and it's just something I dealt with for a while. My creative process has now been a lot more reflective, and I feel much more compelled to actually move my phone and maybe like type on my laptop lyrics and try to shut out the world as much as possible and really listen to me, because I see the world way too fucking much. I'm way too online and all that shit. Having that creative process be more of like try to quiet everything and listen to what's going on there has, I think that's where you're hearing all of that life come from. Is it's much more real and it's much more me, and it's less. This is kind of like the irony of when I was trying to consciously, purposely make music that was introspective and therapeutic and all of those things. It was a lot of like attempts to analytically describe my mental process as opposed to actually feeling it and describing what those feelings feel like. Not necessarily reading some fucking psych student paper about a case study. And in doing that, you end up finding really cool things, and I find myself saying things that are actually way more profound and raw than when I was trying to be profound and raw. And that has kind of been, and it comes back to what you were saying with directness and me saying direct political statements. Sure, I'll probably always find a way to say some shit like that. I think focusing on kind of talking them through it, so to speak, like using my voice and the lyrics as a tool to guide the listener to their own experiences, while on the surface describing my experiences and the things I want to say. I'd say that's probably been the biggest evolution of my creative process, beyond just like meeting a lot of producers and working, finding my tribe of people that I make shit with, and then having enough confidence to go over their work and add my own ideas. Which is where a lot of like those really cool little pocket moments and those more maximalist moments, they kind of come from me being like, what if we like did this right there and did that right there? But the skeletons, I'm almost always getting them from like one of my friends. And then I like to sit with the instrumental and be like, what is this asking for? How can I serve you? Like, where is the idea for this? And then from there, like, it is the vocalist's job to dance with the instrumental, and it's like you can't just play a guitar solo the whole time. Like, you have to be part of the band,
Right.
And I think that's where a lot of early rappers, very much myself included, go wrong. is they're forgetting that it's music.
Yeah.
And it's different than slam poetry. It's different than battle rap. It is music. And it will always be music before it's anything else.
I think that was my problem when I was trying to be a rapper in high school. I just wanted to bar after bar, just like spit over it like I was just guitar soloing the whole time, and I didn't really dance with the instrumentals as much as you do.
And you've probably, like you said, going through my discography, you've probably noticed like a stark difference in how I approach it. And I think like even this neighborhood kids verse is a perfect, I think, example of like me at my current prime in writing.
Yeah. I think it's just been, I think I like all of it, but I think it's just marked improvement with every project, which is really exciting.
I mean, you're witnessing me on like in my 5th year of ever songwriting.
Yeah.
So I still, like, I haven't even hit 10 years yet before I could start being like, I'm experienced. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
Well, you got a great attitude for it, and I think we're gonna see a lot more from Damage coming up. So
Blind is gonna
we're
melt
hitting.
your motherfucking mind.
Cool. Sorry to cut you off there, but I just want to say we're hitting an hour now, so we're gonna say goodbye to the general population.
Oh yeah, get the fuck out of here.
We love all of you. If
Not
you want to
me.
see the rest,
I don't know a goddamn one of you, but stream my music and buy tour tickets because I am on tour starting July 31st and ending 9/11.
Cool. Yeah. So if anything at all you want to, I mean, that was a great plug. That you are definitely a professional. That was that was very well done. If there's anything else you want to plug for like the 99% of the people who are gonna watch this are gonna watch this, and then we'll do like, if you have the time, 20-30 minutes for the Patreon subscribers of just like kind of, we're probably gonna do conversation starters, just talk a little bit, get to know each other a little better if you're down.
I'm all about that. I will take a quick second plug my Patreon, but even more importantly my Discord. I have a open invite Discord server. We got a little over 1,200 members. It's really cool. We do live streams, we play games, we hang out. It's all sorts of cool shit. You will always have a direct link to anything I upload. If you ever find yourself being like, I never see you on my FYP, it's because algorithm.
We'll link all your stuff in the bio too.
So you do that, hop in the Discord. If you want to support me more, I have a Patreon where you get alternate versions of songs, you get stem outs, more intimate journal type posts. So if you want to hear me talk more like this, hop in the Patreon.
Sweet.
Goodbye
almost
YouTube
everyone.
Hey, no, we're getting a ton of Patreon subscribers right off the bat.
I mean, we got 4.
Fuck yeah.
Pretty good for right off the bat.
Pretty good for right off.
Y'all
We're
about
just starting.
Y'all about to be Patreon.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.